XRP. I'm faster, I'm more secure than you'll ever be. I'm faster, I'm cheap, and my name is XRP.
Hello everyone, let's get started. We're a bit late today. I'm sorry for that. Today I want to talk a little bit about Escrow. I think it's pronounced properly. Let me quickly rearrange some windows here. So, first, I don't give financial advice, I don't have no financial interests, and I have no sponsored links. And very important, always check the description of my videos. There is, even on most live streams, there is additional information for those who are new. So please always check. Now, Escrow. Why do I want to talk about Escrow? Actually, it's very interesting that always when people get nervous and think something should happen to price and nothing goes, they come up with new theories like hexagon theories or private XRP ledger theories or whatever other theory. Now the latest one is related to Escrow. I hope you can hear me. Can someone give me a signal that you can hear me? I guess it should be fine. Let's wait a moment. I guess there is a little bit. Everything okay. Okay. There is this rumor going around that the escrow from Ripple has to be pre-allocated to banks, to IMF, to World Bank, to whatever other things. My question is, why do people believe that this should be the case? Literally, because it cannot be connected with the still low price. Because Ripple escrow release has been less than 1% of daily volume in the past, since escrow exists basically, less than 1%. And those following me a little bit longer should know that the remittance business, MoneyGram and stuff, even if we had 100% market share of the whole remittance market globally, it wouldn't move the price because it's just not enough volume. And the same exists or fact is true about Escrow. Now let me talk a little bit technically about what Escrow is for those who do not understand. Let me give you an example. You're a freaking rich person. You have 3 kids, but they're not yet, how do you say, adults. They're like teens, 15, 16, 17 maybe, something like that. And you know you will die, and maybe this year. So what you basically will be doing, you put all your wealth into kind of like a managed fund, which in Switzerland we call Treuhand, and I think that the term in English is actually escrow, okay? And there will be, in this example I'm giving, there will be some person actually taking care of that wealth in that fund, in that escrow. And once your children get adult enough, like 18 or 20 years, depending on the country, then they will be able to receive certain amounts of that money to spend in their lives. And something similar like that is happening with escrow on XRP ledger. However, the difference is not because we have like a decentralized technology. It's not a person or an institution taking care of what happens with the escrow. It's actually the cryptography behind it. So basically you kind of encrypt an account and give it a release date, and up to that release date, that amount of XRP in that account is locked. No one can get to it. And as a matter of fact, I explained in my video from Sunday that on XRP Tipbot, it's actually possible that you yourself can put XRP into escrow. So say you have kids, you move some money to some XRP to the XRP Tipbot, and then you withdraw, but you don't withdraw fiat, you withdraw it into escrow, and then you can give a date and an address, a wallet address, which will receive that XRP in that escrow account. Okay, so much for the technological background, how that actually works. Now, let us think more about the reason why people actually think that escrow from Ripple is pre-allocated, and most assume it's IMF. And I found a tweet from one of my favorite people. I have been following Simon in the past quite closely in one of the Telegram groups, Love for Crypto, and he doesn't have a financial background as such. He's more a tech person, like a computer person, but his business evolves around finance, and he's investing for years in stocks and everything, and he has been doing research on Ripple, I think at least 2014, maybe even 2013. I don't remember, but for quite some time. And he did not just research XRP and the ecosystem. He looked at the big picture of it. Okay, let me make me visible as well. And he usually brings stuff quite easy to the point. And regarding the IMF, and that IMF will be using XRP or will be receiving XRP, I found that tweet. Please read it. I will read it out for you, and I will put a link to the video later on to that tweet. I hate the stupidity around the IMF and their capabilities. They are a lender of last resort for basic needs for tiny economies. Basically, they are looking for financial stability and helping with some charity donations in certain countries, and their main focus is actually financial stability around the world. Okay, so much to the IMF. Now I found some figures for the IMF. IMF used to be not such a big institution, but in the recent years it has grown to a 1 trillion institution. So basically they could give away $1 trillion to countries in need if there was a requirement for that. Now I have done my own thoughts about all that, and hold on. Regarding basically why people think that hold on, I need to change here. Why did people come up with that idea? And I'm pretty sure it's not the price, the low price we have now, but some may have the idea that it could be that the price can only be unleashed once it's totally clear what's actually happening with the escrow. And that's actually a point to that. There was a guy, I think it was Brad Kimes, if I remember properly, he was talking about there is a law in US, and I think the digital asset investor also made a comment about it, for when companies get too big, like it happened with Microsoft, like it happened with, I think it was Kodak at the time, and one or two other companies. AT&T used to be too big, so AT&T was basically split into like baby bells, I think they were called. I don't remember what the name of that law, but it's a law, let's call it anti-monopoly law, because the US government wants to prevent that one company alone gets too influential. And that's actually a point I can totally agree, that this is something Ripple has to take care of, but I'm pretty sure they did take care of. However, when we're talking about the XRP and Escrow, one has to see that XRP in Escrow is kind of like a central bank doing money policy, like quantitative easing, I think it's called in English. Like when the central bank prints more money, you will not know today that in a year you will print such amount more, whatever, US dollar or whatever. You will do that when the situation requests it. And that's exactly what Ripple has been doing in the past. They're not just dumping for the purpose of dumping. They're not dumping at all, and basically they're pretty incentivized by making the market liquid. And to give you something to think about, I have thought a little bit about it. Let me move the camera to the bottom so that you can read everything. I've created two scenarios: low price, like it's now, below $1, and high price, $1,000 or more. Then there is two possibilities of how such a pre-allocation could take place. Either the pre-allocation could say 20 companies each receive, I don't know, 50 million, or 20 companies receive each 5% of the escrow released every month. Okay, so either we go by percentage or we go by the actual value the XRP has. That's the two possibilities we have. Okay, now when we are talking about the situation when we do have a low price below $1, it doesn't, let's say IMF would receive 50% or 500 million if XRP were or was at $1. It would be in both cases 500 million at 50% and at the dollar value 500 million. But that compared to the trillion IMF has already is literally nothing. So why give it to them at all? Okay, that to me that doesn't make sense. Now when we look at the high price scenario, if we are talking about IMF receiving 50% of the billion released every month, that would be 50% more assets in the first month. They would kind of double, or like go from a 1 trillion company to a 1.5 trillion company within a month. Doesn't make sense. And that these 500 billion, they would receive them every month. Okay, totally I don't understand why the IMF should need that much XRP at all. Now, if the pre-allocation was based on a sum, say IMF receives, as in the example, when XRP is at $1, 500 million, that would be at the price of 1,000, that would be 500,000 XRP, or 0.05% of the XRP released, which means 99.95% would stay in escrow, which also doesn't make sense, because the initial thought was actually to get rid of escrow. So basically both scenarios, low price, giving it away based on percentage and on a dollar amount, or high price, for me just doesn't make sense. And when you combine that with the overall objective from the IMF, that they basically look for financial stability and support poor countries, together with these tweets from Simon Adams, then I think it should dawn on you that this is really another one of these ideas from some, I really don't know what they're based that on. Maybe you can give me some feedback on what you think, why this theory that the existing XRP Escrow is pre-allocated. Please give me some ideas, because I am really running out of ideas. And I did want to say something. Now I lost my thread. I was talking about IMF, escrow release. Right. And actually it's even written in the text here. I even tweeted about that today. Let's assume XRP has a price of $1,000 per XRP. And if I'm not wrong, maybe someone from US is here, they can correct me. But the quick research I did is in US, corporates pay around 20% income tax. Now, if the billion released at $1,000 and calculated by this 20%, that'll be 200 billion every month going to the US government. They would say thank you. Okay? It's just a play of games. I mean, Richard actually asked me if that would be possible at all. When we look at the derivatives market, it's a market which is estimated to be yearly over 1 quadrillion. Then we could think of that there might be some space to actually allocate 12 trillion every year, okay, because that's like 1% of 1.2 quadrillion from the derivatives market. And another thing which is important, I mean, whom really thinks that once the XRP price is at $1,000 and you do, I don't know, have, let's say 100,000 XRP, you will not be able to go to the exchange and tell them, please sell my 100,000 XRP, and then you'll have $100 million in your account. It simply will not work. You may be able to cash out 10 million, maybe 15 million or so, but not 100 million at a time. It simply won't work. Let's not even think about the amount of XRP Ripple has. So that's basically what I wanted to cover today. I will go full screen now again. I will remove those ones and I will open my notes so I can make notes about questions and stuff. So hello everyone, I'm going through the question. Richie, XRP Rich, when let's say Bitcoin uses XRP ILP, is XRP used? Well, that depends. I thought basically it's not needed to have a bridge asset as long as the two assets let's say you pay in Bitcoin and the recipient receives Ethereum. If the ILP connector has for both, for Bitcoin and Ethereum, an account, then no XRP is needed. You can basically do this atomic swap from Bitcoin to Ethereum, done deal, because both are distributed ledger technologies. However, if the connector has only one connection, Bitcoin to fiat, then he might need to convert Bitcoin to fiat, send the fiat to another connector, and sending that fiat to the other connector he would usually do in XRP. I hope that this is actually clear. Gaurav, yes, I still believe in 4 digits. 4 digits actually, end of year. Kevin Patterson made basically one of the best suggestions why this is a stupid theory. He's basically writing, if XRP from Escrow was pre-allocated, why then does so much go back to Escrow? That's really, thank you for your feedback on that, Kevin. I literally don't get it. Why do they come up with such an idea? Do they think because Ripple is dumping XRP on the market, the price is held down? Do they think it'll be better giving XRP to the tier 1 banks and make them even richer and let them dump the price? I really don't think so. What do you think about the CNBC Fed meeting in Jackson Hole? They discussed, to be more precise, Carney said. Yes, going a Jekyll. That's actually, that's basically what we're talking about with XRP. To have other means than the US dollar to exchange value. I think in that interview, Mark Carney gave an example where in certain countries, I don't know, I give an example, might totally not be true. You need to pay from Nigeria to Kenya because someone bought something in the other country, okay? And because they don't exchange money, basically you have to change into dollars, and the dollar and the other one has to change back into his own fiat. And that doesn't make sense because they have no business with dollar at all. And that's basically where XRP would come in. Going a Jekyll, I don't know which virtual currency was meant. We all assume he was talking about XRP, but we really don't know. Richie Rich, I don't understand your question. Any companies for cash out for large amounts? I don't understand. Ripple definitely has acquired Swift. And Kevin Patterson has another interesting comment. Actually, you should do the live streams, Kevin. He says, XRP serves no purpose as bridge currency below 5,000. That's what I've been telling, like the past 8 or 10 months. You should listen to Kevin. It totally makes no sense, this pre-allocation. I really don't know why they came up with that theory. Richard, yes, this statement I heard as well, that Trump told that he would wanna get rid of the debt, and I think in the next 10 years or so. Manuel is asking what I think that in Switzerland too, I think they're like these new banks, these new kind of non-bank banks, like I think TransferWise and Revolut also have kind of like a banking license, and these two institutions in Switzerland where there came a tweet out yesterday or today, I think it's a good sign, Manuel, that the ecosystem has to grow. The more the better. Never known. known as asks why the wealthiest people do not buy XRP. Why didn't they buy Bitcoin 10 years ago? Because no one believed it could go up to $20,000. I honestly, I don't know. I mean, why do you follow me? Why don't you follow, I don't know, Sam I am, or I shouldn't say some other idiot, otherwise you think I think Sam is an idiot. Well, I mean, the other day I explained to someone, I don't remember on which channel, if it was in person, face to face, I explained the basic idea of XRP being a bridge asset. And sometimes I think the idea of the bridge asset is so simple that many people are looking too far away. They think there must be some more complicated explanation. I really don't know. I don't know why. I mean, never known. You could. I'm investing on eToro platform. eToro is a social platform, and okay, let's say 30% are invested into XRP because XRP is quite popular on eToro. But another 60% are investing in other coins, Bitcoin, Litecoin, ADA, whatever. They don't get it. Maybe the rich people are stupid. I really don't know. Maybe there are some rich people. There was this one guy who died. Remember? I think he had about 2 billion XRP in a wallet. And then he died of a heart attack or something. Not giving anyone the private. No one knows where the private key is. The 2 billion XRP are lost. I really don't know. Money circulation rate. Well, money politics is I think a quite complicated thing. It's the amount of money, the velocity, XRP and RippleNet or ILP will certainly increase the velocity. Maybe in the future quantitative easing will not be required anymore because the speed of the money is so fast that within a day it can be used 10 times as opposed to now maybe one time throughout the day. And by using the same money more often in the same period of time, the effects that we'll have will be huge. No one can imagine. Michael Gold, he has an answer for whom was it? Never known. Known. What was the? Now I lost the. Never known. Michael Gold answered to you in a pretty clear fashion. Money managers say no to crypto, basically. And maybe they really listen too much to so-called experts. I really don't know. I need some juice in my life. Like, what kind of juice? I have enough juice. Manuel is asking regarding these two institutions for the XRP Swiss franc pairing. I think it even exists already. Swissquote is offering Swiss franc XRP pair, and Bitrex was told to open a place in Liechtenstein, and when I think it was about 3-4 months back. I'm actually waiting announcement of that going live pretty soon, of that Bitrex thing in Liechtenstein, and there we will 100% have XRP Swiss franc pair, 100%. I think it was even written in the announcement. Rich is asking about this glitch on certain websites, like when Bitcoin went down to below $1 or something, and XRP price went up to almost $10. If it was a glitch, I mean, purportedly it was like servers being overheated and reporting wrong data about markets. I mean, how stupid can one be? If a server is overheated, he stops working. He will not report wrong data. He will not report data at all, but certainly not wrong data. I mean, anyone believing that this was the reason for these glitches, I will go and fight with him in the sand. We had this weekend in Switzerland. How was it called? Eidgenössisches Schwingerfest. Eidgenössisches Schwingerfest, I think it's called. Which means it's a sport, a little bit like there used to be an Olympic sport like that, like where two guys were like fighting with each other, not boxing, they were more like, also not judo, more in the sense of judo, but they were trying to pull the other one onto his shoulder onto the mattress. In Switzerland they do it in kind of like, it's not really sand, it's like when you cut wood, that the spawns falling down, within that they do that, and it's a huge thing, and I will go into that arena and fight with the guy if he believes overheated server were the reason for these glitches. I really don't know. Manuel, go and check XRP Arcade. I'm pretty sure there is a Swiss franc pair listed there. I'm not familiar with Sinn Fin, no. Swinger Clubfest, almost. Ringen, yes. Greco-Roman wrestling, something like that, Raymond, thank you. Actually, let me check. I have received a question on Twitter. I should ask you guys, who believes in a very high price this year without regulation being passed? And if the answer is yes, why is the reason for that opinion? So everyone thumbs up for a high price this year, or no high price this year. And those who put the thumb up, please, if you think like me that we're not waiting for regulation, please answer quickly what you think we're waiting. So if I just see a thumb up, it means that you think we're waiting for regulation. So there are quite some people thinking it's possible, and that it's, as I believe, it's really not regulation we're waiting on. Sideways until US election. I think US election has nothing to do with it. Go rough. Actually, I had a thought regarding, I mean, the whole purpose, if those reasons for these escrow theories is the fact that those people fear that Ripple might get too powerful, that's actually a valid reason. But I think that this can be helped in other ways by just taking away XRP for them. They could be contractually obliged to, I don't know, check with, I don't know, Fed, IMF, World Bank, BIS, if it's okay to release a certain amount or not, and also at which price. I mean, I hope you're aware of the fact that the escrow release, Ripple can set the price at whatever price they seem fit. It'll most likely never will be sold at market price. Never. Now I lost my thread again regarding regulation. And could be that the delay, that this reason that US already now wants to prevent Ripple from getting too powerful, that maybe could be that this is the reason for the delay. I mean, why did SEC tell a year ago Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities? Why did they know for sure 100% that XRP is or is not a security? Why don't they tell that? Why is the freaking whole fucking world waiting with crypto regulations for so long? I mean, Ripple has been talking to those countries for years. They could have been preparing something. There must be a reason for all those delays. And maybe it is connected to the fact that the governments, IMF, World Bank, BIS, together with Ripple, are thinking about the plan what to do with escrow. However, that it's pre-allocated, I would lay my hand into the fire for that this is not the case. I agree that there most likely is a plan behind it, how to use the money in escrow. I mean, for what? But I think the amount of XRP released on a regular basis, that's something they will discuss every month. They will not pre-allocation doesn't make sense. Totally not. Yeah, Richard is mentioning actually the regulations have to come in September, otherwise there wouldn't be a backed as a kind of Nasdaq or Wall Street backed crypto exchange, and I totally agree. But you remember, they were planned to go live a year ago, and then it was told January, and then you didn't hear nothing. I remember Digital Asset Investor, I think it was about a year ago, in August 2018. Yeah, Backed will come live until the end of the year. This is huge. Nothing. I mean, maybe it's could really be that everything is part of a bigger plan. I mean, ILP and XRP will change the world. And maybe it's really just that they have a hard time figuring out not to make Ripple too powerful and anyway helping the world economy. Gaurav, SBI didn't even start yet. Did you ever see on any of the coin listing sites SBI listed? I didn't. So unless they're I have to think. Unless they're listed, I still stick to the fact that they're not live. Which means when they're not listed, they're not live. Okay? And they're not listed, so they're not live. Um, 5894, sure. If you don't like my content and you think I'm a dreamer, why don't you change channel? I mean, I'm not a dreamer. Maybe I'm a dreamer, but I literally, I think that Simon Adams from Twitter, from this group Love for Crypto, is the only other person in this whole XRP ecosystem which I think has the same or similar big picture of what XRP will do to the world. Most people don't see it. Then they call you dreamer because they don't get it. All the money good question, English to me. Some thought it'll be Asia. I really don't know. I think it'll have to be kind of like everything together, because it doesn't make sense to use XRP just in one part of the world, because the world trade is only in equilibrium if it's working in the whole world. Maybe that was the reason that some, I don't know, important corridor was missing. Maybe it's the Chinese. Maybe the Chinese are holding up something. I really don't know. We don't hear about China, no nothing. But for sure, Ripple has Lian Pay on board. And there were rumors that through one or the other connection there was also connections with Alipay somehow, maybe even via Lian. I don't remember. Maybe it was WorldPay or something. Maybe it's something we just don't know. I really don't know. I just know it'll happen. $58.94, sure. That's 589 for sure. I don't take it personally as long as you excuse. I mean, I look, there are people who call me arrogant in certain areas. And I totally agree that someone not knowing me, that I have in certain areas a good self-esteem at work, in XRP, that I may come across as arrogant. But it's just self-confidence. I know what I'm talking about. And if you are totally unsure about the stuff I'm talking about, then there is people who get my self-confidence, who feel it like arrogance. But I'm not arrogant, totally not, because you can call me a dreamer, we can talk about that and we can discuss it out. I also excused to certain people already in the past for calling them idiot without hearing first their basically explanation, whatever. And usually I do have quite some patience with people not understanding stuff I'm dealing with, be it at work or being here. And I totally can understand when people think I'm a dreamer, but I'm not. I'm really not. I just, when you, I mean, watch this video, All the Money again. I don't know. The problem is I cannot do as good. Actually, there is I will put a link. Put link to JungleInc video into the description. Actually, I can explain how JungleInc made a video recently. I think it had a title something like Cashless Society or something, and he was giving some ideas of how it could be in 5, 10, 15 years, how we, like in 10 years we will not think about how complicated it is to send value anymore. You will just do it as you're writing now in this chat here, messages to me and to the other people who are here. How many are we? 100. That's not too bad. That's about 10% of my English followers. I'm super arrogant. Yes, thank you, Toby Yogi. Okay, let me go back to the questions. Thank you, Richard. Well, maybe I'm doing something wrong with my figures, but from any kind of whatever new angle I get through discussions with you guys, through thinking, through Twitter and whatever, every time I get a new perspective to try to do some calculations. I always end up at 4 digits, always, as a minimum, in order for high value. I mean, we're not talking about internet of small value payments or small value. We're talking about an internet of value, guys. Come on. Maybe that's what some people don't understand. 589 for sure. That maybe they understand internet for small value, but it's called internet of value. That means also high value. Close your closet door behind me. Why? Is it disturbing you that you can see my batteries? Actually, I bought a nice weather station and I needed to pull out some batteries before. And actually, let me show you guys that's and this way I will finish tonight. This is actually really cool. Helix wind of change. That's actually something I want to put on my roof. Hold on, I need to enable. That's a wind generator. Usually, let me put my small camera. Usually the wind generators rotate like that, and this one rotates like this way. It's freaking cool. It produces kind of no sound. It works at any time, at any speed. Like the big ones, the ones turning like this, I think above 100 kilometers per hour wind speed, they have to stop. This one can go up to 180 kilometers per hour wind speed. It has literally no sound, and obviously the more wind, the more electricity, and it's kind of cheap. It's like the size of a man, bit taller maybe, bit wider. I'm fat, but not that fat. And why did I want to show that? Because someone said something. I don't remember why I came to talk about that. Hold on. Why did I want to talk about that? I don't remember. There was some idea I had to maybe about this great or big idea thing that some people have troubles imagining big things from happening. Maybe it was around that topic. I mean, I could imagine every house in Switzerland having one of these on the roof. Why not? Doesn't produce any sound. You can color them in any color you want. Would be, I mean, 15 years ago we had like antennas on every roof for radio and television. Why not have one of these? I hope I did take care for answering most of your questions. If I didn't, don't be annoyed, please. Put a comment in the video. It'll usually take about an hour until the live chat has been synchronized to the video. I will put some links to, actually there is some stuff in the description already. I will put this link to the video from JungleInc where he's talking about this cashless society we will go to in the future. And I want to thank you for your for your trust as always, for your persistence, for your faith in me. And those talking German I might hear or read again on Thursday. And to all the other ones, I wish a nice rest of the week and hopefully talk to you next Tuesday. Take care.